Rewarding came after the 55 winners were shortlisted out of the 200 who submitted their videos to the judges.
The first person is Mrs. Manisha Agrawal.
Among the categories competed for and awarded include the Business Innovative Awards, Top Presenters Award, Corporate Social Responsibility Award, Employment Generation Awards, and many more. Prime Minister Robin Anabanja, who represented the First Lady and accompanied by the Minister of Health, Dr. Jane Ruth Acheng, officiated the function, spiced with Indian culture groups, showcasing talents through music, dance and drama. Robin Anabanja commended the contribution of India towards uplifting Ugandans in small-scale businesses.
Therefore, most pleased to learn of this exercise that you have been undertaking of training our women in business and entrepreneurship skills. In addition, we know that India was able to lift many of your people out of poverty through cottage industries and small-scale entrepreneurship.
The Minister of Health, Dr. Jane Ruth Acheng, applauded the Indian High Commission in Uganda for honoring Indian women entrepreneurs in Uganda and asked them to facilitate Ugandan women in different skills.
India is a home to many pharmaceutical companies manufacturing affordable medicines for the masses. India is also known for affordable and best health care in the world. I'd like to encourage the Indian women entrepreneurs to take advantage of the opportunities lying in Uganda's pharmaceutical manufacturing and providing health care for facilities in Uganda by transferring technology and skills from India.
The Indian High Commissioner to Uganda, Ajay Kumar, said the awards are meant to boost winners' capability and skills for the betterment of their economic standards.
So that our women entrepreneurs are using every bit of talent and skill they have to, some way to market it and find a business opportunity. Whether it is their cooking skill, whether it is their baking skills, whether it is their dancing skills, whether it is their music skill, whether it is their learning, so they do tuitions. We see many ladies teaching abacus online.
Ahead of India's 75th independence celebrations.
Gives equal opportunity to all of us, irrespective of our race, caste or wealth. Some of us grab these opportunities. Some of us negotiate with these opportunities and delay the decisions.
Ivan Juko, Flower Semper, UBC News.
Now, new appointed ambassadors abroad have started a countrywide tour ahead of their new assignments. These have been tasked to represent the country well by promoting Uganda's interests abroad. Take a look.
Ministry of Foreign Affairs wants newly appointed ambassadors to promote Uganda's interests across the globe. This was part of the orientation by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to newly appointed ambassadors who were taken around government investment facilities countrywide. The ambassadors who are set to begin their duties April this year began their tour by visiting Namamve Industrial Park, Lugazi Sugar Factory, Kira Motors, Mbale Industrial Park, Soroti Fruit Factory, Pella Agro Processing Factory, among others. The 11 days tour is expected to showcase to the envoys Uganda's real investment potential.
To acquaint the ambassadors with Uganda's capacity in the field of industry and to learn on the spot what are the challenges that these factories are having. Because among other responsibilities, we have to seek for markets for these products. We have to look for partnerships abroad for these industries and to seek for technology and even trained manpower.
The head public diplomacy at the ministry, Ambassador Alfred Nam, says the tour is meant to orient new ambassadors about what to talk about in real terms of investment.
Now that they will have seen on the ground and assessed for themselves the capacities we have in the country and the gaps that they have been identified, they will be able to address then some of those things there.
NAM says the government installations grow the country economically and promote employment.
But also to align the ministry's strategic objectives as people who are going to defend Uganda's interests abroad and to promote economic and commercial diplomacy.
To broaden the economy, to deepen the economy, to integrate the economy and make it provide a future for our country. It offers an opportunity really for jobs, offers an opportunity for technology, but also we can provide critical transport facilities and assets to move us around as a people. But also we can take advantage of the growing market within our region.
The tour will end in Chankwanzi with a lecture from President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Shaidat Nasaku, UBC News.
Over 2,000 residents in Chankwanzi district remain homeless after being evicted from their villages by a woman claiming to be a wife of a former army chief. This is in spite of a recent government edict against any more evictions. We have the details.
Though President Yoweri Museveni and the Minister for Land recently issued directives against land evictions, some land claimants in Chankwanzi district are doing the opposite. A case in point is where 2,000 persons are being evicted violently from a 60 square miles piece of land in Chankwanzi.
Yandika na kaiga na kuavula chenkana tumuzise wano tukulidde wano ngalidde kuno ebbange eriwera nenga nkuliddeko nga batugamba nti ttaka lino bajjajjaffe nga batugamba nti ttaka lino lyaki lya Bwakabaka era ne tulibeerako nga tetulina muntu yenna tukijjanya nga tukolagana bulungi nnyo ne Mengo.
Residents are worried of famine after their gardens were destroyed. They allege that there was no eviction order provided before the eviction.
Mbera yatugwako mu kifuifu kintu kye twategeera ne bajja ne basenda emmere yaffe yonna abaana mbalina abawerako
eyo nga bw'ogiraba gye tulimu mu mbeera ya nnaku kubanga okulya naawe emmere ogirabye nga bw'otambudde.
Body was informed about this action.
A wife of a late prominent army officer is accused of being behind the eviction.
Ng'ettaka lya Bwakabaka, ettaka lya Dawudi Chwa, era tugenze okulaba ng'ono omukyala alonda Nyakayirima yajja n'asenda ebintu bino byonna.
Land Board ya Buganda kusobola kulwana kulaba nti etuddiza ettaka obutuuze bwaffe. Abatuuze tubeereko. Yaziikako kuno jjajjaawe n'aziikako taata we so nasaako ne baganda be n'abaana be okumugamba nti essaawa eno aveewo agendewa.
Ogwe pulezidenti w'eggwanga lino nkusaba owulire omulanga gw'abannakyalo naffe abatuuze kuba tuli mulumi bw'amaanyi.
The disputed land sits on 6 square miles and houses 10 villages that include Chiyuni, Butikiro, Dagaza, Cherere, Chamlama, not to mention all. Ivan Juko, Deborah Namamonde, UBC News.
Uganda has marked the World Tuberculosis Day in a marathon around Kampala. Runners took up to 2, 5 and 10 kilometer races in the awareness campaign. Take a look.
Hundreds of people gathered at the Ministry of Health in a tuberculosis awareness marathon to mark the World TB Day. Led by Justice KASOLWE Lumumba, Minister Office of the Prime Minister, General Duties, who represented the Prime Minister, emphasis was on the laxity about the disease, despite killing a number on a daily basis.
It's the first of its kind to have a marathon to sensitize people, to show efforts together, to work together to fight this TB, locally here, but also internationally. In addition to sensitization, to encourage also men to come and be part of it, because statistics show that women go for testing, women can't check, but men are so slow when it comes to this, and yet it affects both men and women.
The Minister of Health, Generuth Acheng, highlighted the timeliness of the campaign meant to create awareness among the public.
One is to create awareness to the general public, because many other diseases have several partners that support it and support awareness creation. But there are very few partners in TB, and people tend to think that TB is not a killer, but TB remains a killer.
The gong was rung and off the runners competed in 2 5 and 10 kilometer races, urging all Ugandans to invest in TB and leprosy prevention. Currently, the Ministry of Health is mobilizing 1 billion shillings to construct a TB isolation center in Iganga Hospital.
Of Uganda have increased on the funding to buy diagnostic machines, equipment like X-rays, like gene experts, so that we can detect each and every TB in all Ugandans. That's what we are doing. Thanks.
TB is an airborne disease usually caused by a bacterium that affects the lungs but can also affect other parts of the body. Most infections do not have symptoms, known as latent tuberculosis. According to the Ministry of Health, Uganda has an estimated 90,000 TB cases, of which about 60% are co-infected with HIV and AIDS. The 2010 Global World Health Organization report ranked Uganda 16th among the 22 TB high-burden countries.
The Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, through the National Animal Genetic Resources Centre and Data Bank Programme, has commissioned a livestock fodder processing plant and hatchery for poultry at KASOLWE Stock Farm in Kamuli District. The 120-capacity goat structure, 4 fish-stocked breeding ponds, miller camp and African catfish for producing fish seed that will be given out to farmers has been set up.
The first Deputy Prime Minister and Minister in charge of East African Affairs, Rebecca Alitoala Kadaga, has officiated the opening of a livestock fodder processing plant, hatchery for poultry, and a fish multiplier at KASOLWE Stock Farm in Kamuli District.
Senteno ya musoga yona ya Eastern yona ya Uganda yona bajja kuiga ngano basomere gano baleka no kumane mulya kuseete mutunda amenvu mutunde bintu ebindi kona katale kajja kubaawo kali kino kingiriiremu ndi kubonanga abasoga twefeeku tulabe kwetanira kutuwanga buwe muti tutandika okukola n'amaani kuba buli kintu kituli mu ngalo.
KASOLWE should be replicated in Marara, in Rubona, such that the money we are putting into the parish model, which the people should use to buy seed or breeding materials, they get a guaranteed source of quality seed or a guaranteed source of breeding stock.
The Executive Director, National Animal Genetic Resources Centre and Data Bank, Dr. Peter Beine, said the facility has got other projects under construction. This includes a 300-kilogram floating fish feed production plant and a 3,000 metric ton grain storage facility to support the feed processing plant.
These are the silos to support the feed processing plant, and they are 25%.
The facility has 500 capacity learning center with complete auditorium and lecture theaters that will help transform the KASOLWE Stock Farm into a knowledge transfer and learning center.
And it will be for training purposes, for also helping us in our breeding work to avail direct breeding stock and the rest.
Government has imported pure breed for 113 calf jersey and 124 ushers that will be stocked at Lusenke Stock Farm, which has been revamped to a modern performance play race with a loading and offloading ramp and 35,000 bale capacity hay storage banks, 4 pigsty structure, 3 breeding and 1 growers unit have been constructed. Shaidat Nasaku, UBC News.
Bunyoro Kitara Diocesan Bishop Samuel Kahuma Aboli has directed religious leaders within the diocese to secure land titles for church land and demarcate it from grabbers. Encroachment on church land has been attributed to failure by church leaders to secure land titles, hence its encroachment.
The Bishop of Chitara Diocesan, Right Reverend Samuel Kahuma, has warned against a looming land grab on church land in his diocese. Bishop Kahuma made the remarks at a confirmation of over 70 faithfuls to the Anglican faith at Muhuiju Church of Uganda Parish in Chigaya Archdeaconry, CADRE district.
Much of our church land is not yet registered, but effort is being done, and I want to thank and commend all who have done very well on this effort. We have over 100 titles already secured, and we want still many more to be secured. And not only to limit ourselves to the land titles, but also to put landmarks, to plant our boundaries with the traditional Emiramura, Orukoni, Emitoma, because those save us and protect us from encroachers. The title alone does not protect you from an encroacher, but the line will protect you. And also to make use of a land, because whenever land is found idle, it attracts an encroacher or a land grabber.
A member of Bunyoro Chitara Diocesan Land Board, Joseph Banage, says the church has so far secured some land titles.
Indeed, the kanisa yaitu runde kanisa ya Anglican Church of Uganda ebaire nebizu byamataka kandi aba missionaries bakandi bakyaija bakakora kyoni kikusoboka kukwatira amataka baitu abantu habo kutamanya rundo nibakimanya bakagenda bayekwata bayehingiko mataka ako nibatekereza tigagira mukama wabwe.
The newly elected CADRE District Land Board Chairperson Peter Chamanywa attributed increased land conflicts in the area to the absence of a district land board in CADRE district.
Ubusombere buyingi muno gonza members wa machacho yitu abantu abere besigu abandi baro makanisa mfata haro incidents hatu kurwana hatu wene na members wa church wako members wa church ni ba kuliso mugizogo kunyaga itaka ya kanisa.
The Minister for Information, Technology and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, has asked Masindi district leaders to be patriotic. He was officiating at a 2-week training of Masindi district leaders attending a leadership course at Police Training School in Kabalye, Masindi.
The 2 weeks training was organized by the Office of the Resident District Commissioner for Masindi, bringing together all district leaders. The Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, officiated at the training with the purpose of interacting with local leaders.
Where they are being trained on many areas, including patriotism, leadership, but most importantly being also trained in areas of the parish development model, which is a new program arrangement where government is going to support communities at the parish level, and leaders have a cardinal responsibility of supervising and monitoring these interventions.
He commended the RDC for the initiative and implored other RDCs from other districts to follow suit.
They should emulate this kind of arrangement and do similar trainings for local leaders so that there is an interaction between the government and the lower level leaders in order for them to appreciate what the government does and also what their key roles are in terms of ensuring that the interventions being done by government are meaningful and cause impact at community level.
The resident district commissioner, Rose Kirabina, urged leaders to work as a team for better service delivery.
We need teamwork. Teamwork is very important. When you reach home, put in place what you've been here for.
The leaders raised a number of challenges hindering their service delivery.
Issues in offices. Corruption is killing NRM. Please, corruption is killing NRM.
request for instruments power.
UBC News tonight. The new lower secondary school curriculum is a beacon of hope in upscaling vocational training in the country. The Acting Director, Directorate of Industrial Training in the Ministry of Education and Sports, Patrick Vyakatonda, says students will be equipped with hands-on skills for self-sustenance.
The Acting Director, Directorate of Industrial Training in the Ministry of Education and Sports, Patrick Vyakatonda, says they have developed assessment training package for 79 vocational occupations. Vyakatonda was addressing Luganda teachers on the new curriculum setup, which is meant to equip learners with employable skills while still at school so that they can be able to start up an income-generating activity when out of school.
A student will choose only one occupation out of the very many, depending on your strengths or your competences or your skills which you had before. So you don't choose 2 or 3, no, choose only one for DIT. You can learn others to know.
He says learners will be subjected to vocational training to prepare them for gainful employment.
The theme of the new curriculum is to prepare a secondary graduate with employable skills that are relevant for the world market.
The Department of Language Education in Makerere University is training Luganda teachers to integrate skills training in lower secondary.
Curriculum is so important because it is going to help the student, to empower the student to be able to come out with other skills which are not necessarily taught in class, but the teacher will be as a facilitator to help this student come up with these skills which will help him to get jobs in the world market.
8 selective subjects for the start are to be assessed by the Directorate of Industrial Training, including agriculture, art and design, entrepreneurship, performing arts, nutrition and food technology, ICT, physical education, technology and design, and each will sit for only one occupation according to his competency and convenience.
Vice President Jessica Lupo has commended the leadership of SHEEMA district for championing a strong unity of purpose for the district. The Vice President made the remarks while presiding over Women's Day celebrations in SHEEMA district over the weekend in Kakindo Technical Institute in Kakindo Town Council, SHEEMA North constituency.
Vice President Major Retired Jessica Alupo, who presided over the celebrations, was treated to a show of strong unity of purpose among the leaders in SHEEMA district, which included District Woman Member of Parliament Rosemary Nyaki Korongo, commonly referred to as Nyachi, the Area Member of Parliament Naomi Kibaju, SHEEMA Municipality Member of Parliament Dickson Kateshumbwa, and that of SHEEMA South, Professor Elijah Mushemeza, who collectively organized the celebrations with thousands in attendance. The Vice President reminded the audience that the day was commemorated to take stock of achievements in empowering women and the girl child because government under the leadership of His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni had taken deliberate interventions to empower women through equal access to social services like education, health, peace and security, financial inclusion, among others.
I think we should strive to end defilement, early marriages, early pregnancies, incest, domestic violence, child labor. because this have a very long-term impact on the girl child. A girl child can get HIV/AIDS, which does not have a cure up to now. A girl child can have permanent health problems, including fistula, especially because it's forced to produce when the development of its body is not mature enough. On Women's Day, we should hold close to our hearts as communities and leaders, cultural institutions, religious institutions, so that next year when we come, the statistics have reduced. But as of now, the statistics of what I have said are very alarming. So this day is a day when we explore all the approaches on how to stop the negative ones, but to promote the positive ones, which safeguard the girl child and the boy child.
Several leaders who spoke, including Chairperson LC5 SHEEMA District, Jemima Mohanda, and the members of Parliament, thanked the government for sustained peace and stability in SHEEMA. They pledged to work with the government to economically empower the women by mobilizing them to participate gainfully in the Paris Development Model and other programs.
Your Excellency, we are living in peace. There is no problem in SHEEMA. Koto Eyarama Abunene, SHEEMA District.
Earlier, the Vice President toured an exhibition stalls where women and circle groups had displayed market-ready products, where she made a donation of Uganda shillings 30 million. Etole Ed Archangel, UBC News.
Because of her, Uganda has showcased extraordinary Ugandan women that have made a big contribution to national development. The event that has attracted who is who in Uganda is being held at Uganda Museum.
Women that have made a big contribution to Uganda's socio-economic development have been celebrated at an exhibition held at Uganda Museum in Kampala.
Out about women who had made certain achievements, like Princess Pagaya. We didn't know who was the first female barrister, and that was a shaming. We came across information in our history that we were surprised we never knew about. For example, Queen Muhumuza of Chigezi. At the time she was queen, Kabalega was also king. You know everything there is to know about Kabalega, but what do you know about Muhumuza?
Historical Ugandan women want the public to celebrate all women achievers across all societies.
There are very prolific women in our society who did so much for us to enjoy the rights that we have today. So one of the reasons we did this event, apart from celebrating these women's achievements, is because we wanted to inspire the youth. We wanted to instill some duty in them to keep up the good work that these women have done.
Exhibitors want government to recognize women who have contributed to national development. The Minister of State for Trade and also Ndora West Member of Parliament David Bahati officiated the exhibition.
This work is being taken on by the younger generation. It's a demonstration that the women emancipation is permeating down to the young generation, and this is very good for the cause.
And we have tried to do that in different aspects. The first one is the issue of health, where we have tried to fight maternal mortality in this country by building health centers at every sub-county in the country. We have given women full participation, political participation.
These extraordinary women of the old days are portrayed by the available archives.
As we showcase extraordinary women,
the basic question is, how can we celebrate these phenomenal mothers and women who are playing a tremendous role in the development of this country, Uganda?
We are going to be taking it to the grassroots, to the women at the bottom, to the girls at the bottom. We are recently thinking of partnering up with other organizations at the grassroots so that this information is disseminated. Girls are our core audience, young girls especially. We honor the ladies who have come before us, the ladies who open first doors, so it is our duty to open doors for those below us and those who are coming after us.
As the exhibition winds up, modern women are being advised to follow and enhance the path set by the early women of valor. Joshua Kagoro, Juko Collins, UBC News.
UBC News Tonight takes a very short break, but we still have more stories in store for you, so don't move an inch.
Need to send money to a loved one, but you don't have enough on your phone? Have you run out of fuel, but you don't have enough money? Do you want to pay for yaka or water, but have insufficient funds? Or do you want to shop, but you don't have enough money? Don't worry, Gatawa with MTN Momo Advance. Momo Advance tops up your Momo to complete your transactions. Dial *165*5*3# to apply. MTN Momo Advance is always available when you need it.
Where does it come from? That thing that makes us Ugandan. That thing that makes us different from everybody else. Where does it grow infinitely? Some say it's in our history, in our culture, and in our hearts, in our warm smiles and vast miles of coffee, dairy farmland, and amazing maize fields. It's in our inherent pursuit to always be better, to never stop growing and glowing. So you see, we are more than just a waving flag. We are a nation of sweat and skills, a nation of ideas and inventions. But what truly makes us Ugandan is our quest to improve the quality of life for Ugandans by creating sustainable jobs, businesses, and improving household incomes. That's what makes us Uganda Development Bank. Uganda Development Bank, inspiring development.
There have always been hard times, but these days are harder than most. Everyone is hurting. Everyone needs help. But some among us are asking the question, what if we didn't have to go through life's hardest moments alone? What if we were in it together? And just by asking that question, he changed my son's life. He created an online crowdfunding platform for Ugandans to help raise money for each other.
Thank you, Nixon, for helping me.
This is a story of a regular Ugandan just like you, who harnessed the power of technology to provide a solution for us. How about you tell us your story? UG needs more of you. To share your story, visit airtel.co.ug/UG needs more of you or call or SMS 162. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back from the break. And in more news, the Minister for Kampala and Metropolitan Affairs, Hajat Minsa Kabanda, has advised men to support their wives whenever necessary. She was launching Ustawi microfinance, which is aimed at supporting women, mainly Muslims. Take a look.
The Minister for Kampala and Metropolitan Affairs, Hajat Minsa Kabanda, has launched Ustawi Microfinance Institution aimed at propping up Muslim women and other female entrepreneurs in their endeavors.
I therefore take this opportunity to launch Ustawi as a microfinance.
Kabanda says that through Ustawi Microfinance and other government programs like Emyoga and Parish Development Model, poverty will be a thing of the past.
This launch today is in line with government policy and determination of ensuring that its people, and especially women and youth, pull out of poverty and become self-supporting. Thank you for this beneficial innovation and particularly touches on women empowerment, When you empower one woman, I think you empower the nation.
The chairperson, Uganda National Women Council, Hajat Farida Chimbowa, acknowledges that women need support because they are the key drivers in communities.
This microfinance is targeting Muslim women Oh, mashallah, alhamdulillah. We need financial independence as Muslim women. My request is one. Now that this service that is targeting Muslim women is here, I request the men to support us. We need our husbands to support us because we can't do without them.
The Chief Executive Officer, Ustawi Microfinance, Aisha Ali, says that some of the services that are offering mainly agriculture asset financing, climate-smart farming credit, business credit, is meant to eradicate poverty from communities.
With Ustawi, you can be rest assured that we bring financial services to the rural communities, where we believe the tangible services are, the tangible assets are, the immense of wealth that they bring to the table is very mind-blowing. We're offering interest-free credit services to the underprivileged women and girls within the peri-urban and rural areas of Uganda, with the ultimate objective of improving livelihoods at the family level.
Story by Kenneth.
Now, as the primary and secondary school first term nears a conclusion, many education institutions are urging government to address the issue of a number of reading materials. There are also other challenges that need attention, especially the learners continue to adopt after a 2-year absence.
Ntungamo district was one of those lucky not to witness a large attrition rate due to COVID-19 lockdown that kept education closed for 2 years. This has, however, come with some disadvantages like lack of reading materials, as witnessed at Chamate Secondary School.
We have very big numbers, and the reading materials we have received are not enough to cater for those numbers. We find about 10 students sharing just one book, so they are not enough. So we call upon the ministry to add us more reading materials so that it can cater for the larger numbers.
At Standard College in Ntungamo, another crisis that needs address is failure to implement the new curriculum.
The challenges are most of the staff members were not retooled in the new curriculum. By the time we went for lockdown, we had only helped around 10 or 15 staff. And the challenge is now the new staff we get from universities don't know much about it. So we have to train them as a school. We would like to thank the government. Until recent, we received some learners' books from the government, and we are moving on.
The Uganda District Education Department, through the District Council, is drafting an ordinance that will enforce all teaching institutions in the district to plant fruit and non-fruit trees in their school compounds. The move is geared at ensuring that learners embrace the need to conserve the environment even when they go back to their respective homes. This ordinance will, among others, consist of fines and punishments for deviant schools which won't abide by the set rules.
Uganda district is among the many districts in the country that is choking on catastrophes resulting from mass deforestation. The Education Department, through the District Council, is now drafting an ordinance that will force all teaching institutions to plant trees in their school compounds. Uganda District Inspector of Schools, Bakaijaje Benon, says fruit trees should be given priority in school compounds.
And our emphasis, even from the ministry, is that in all school compounds, stakeholders must plant especially fruit trees for learners to act as shades, to provide shade, and also to give fruits to the learners.
Schools being concentrated places for learners, leaders think it will give them an opportunity to grow up knowing the advantage of trees. Planting eucalyptus trees is, however, being discouraged.
Because they consume a lot of water. Other friendly trees are there. If you come to the district, they can give you good species which are friendly. Because when you plant eucalyptus trees, you can't dig, you can't cultivate anything, and it grows.
Trees produce fruits, provide shades for learners, and also protect schools' infrastructure from being blown away by the wind. Some of the schools, including Kibubura Girls, have since started on tree planting. Amanya Syria, the headmistress of this school, says 400 trees have so far been planted in their school compound.
And as Kibubura Girls, we planted more than 400 trees around the compound. And therefore, if we have such trees, they can help us in different aspects, like making the school green and also providing shade and all other important aspects, like providing rain that would help the environment to keep green.
When we are in schools and our clubs, we have a lot to play as far as making our school green. We have not to destroy the green environment, the flower gardens.
Whereas some organizations, including churches, have managed to donate tree seedlings to schools and local communities, majority are yet to plant them. But once the ordinance is passed, these deviant schools will be fined but also punished for violating the set rules.
But even, for example, the district of Uganda at one time has been supplying these trees, seed trees. So they are supplying trees to schools. And I don't see why head teachers are not picking the
My fellow educationists and education institutions, I want to implore you to conserve the environment. Plant trees to save life, plant trees to preserve the nature and the environment.
Students from different schools taking French language have been encouraged to enroll for the French language competition, which has been launched at Alliance Française here in Kampala. The executive director for the organization, Patrice Gilles, noted that the competitions will enable French students a competitive advantage in the job market in East Africa with the newly incorporated language in the East African community.
Alliance Française Kampala has launched a countrywide competition for French schools from primary to university levels as a way of harnessing opportunities that come along the language.
Here at Alliance Française, where we are launching a competition for learners in institutions of learning in Uganda, a competition that has been dubbed as Njogera Français. It is a very exciting competition. I find it creative because it has the local flavor of Luganda, Njogera, and Français. So a combination to mean I speak French. Je parle français in French.
The program, which is dubbed as Njogera Français, will see winners taking home different prizes, with best students winning 1,000 euros, laptops, tablets, while best teachers will have a chance to winning 2 trips to France.
I think that alone will be a great motivation. What we were thinking when we decided to give them money is to give an opportunity for someone maybe to plan for his own or her own trip to a French-speaking country. We know that a lot of people are able to find ways to speak, to listen French, despite the fact that this is an English-speaking country. But we think that what could be even more exciting for them is to have an opportunity to visit a French-speaking country.
The executive director for Alliance Française, Patrice Gilles, attests that this will be a great opportunity for the learners and a motivational factor to attract students to the language in schools, most especially now that French has officially been included as an official language for the East African community.
And what do we try to achieve? Well, we try to take into account that there is a dynamic of people learning French in Uganda, and this dynamic corresponds to the dynamic of French language in the region. I read some projections that have it that by 2050 it's going to be the second most widely spoken language in East Africa, behind Amharic, not even Kiswahili.
Teachers from different institutions also attest that the move will enable Ugandan students studying French have an added advantage and competitive in global job market.
Business of these subjects should be scrapped. It shouldn't come to the languages. We ought to go ahead. If we learn from the British system, a British by 11, I told you, knows more than 3 international languages and can work anywhere in the world. Let the government support the languages in schools.
As a student of who has done DELF before, it is a very good and interesting experience and I would encourage all the students not to fear this. What is important is to have enough vocabulary.
Sada Mubale, UBC News, Kampala.
The Minister of Science, Innovation and Technology, Dr. Monica Musenero, has traversed Butewo district, training leaders on how to benefit from the recently launched parish development model. Dr. Musenero says there is need of mindset change of the locals, especially those that have been trapped in poverty for long.
In North Bukedi, Butewo is one of the poverty-stricken districts with most of the population earning hand-to-mouth. This has prompted the Minister of Science, Innovation and Technology, Dr. Monica Musenero, with local leaders to sensitize masses on the parish development model. The training was at Kanyum Parish, Butewo district.
We covered topics like how do you understand poverty and helping people to know that they are poor, but also to understand why are they poor. And then to understand the use of time, but also for them to understand why are they doing what they are doing. So we started to introduce the concept of working with the Chibaro. And this kind of mindset change was the main thing. Although I introduced the parish development model the technical way, my main objective was to start helping people to appreciate why they should change, why they should work. And so all these leaders have gone through this for 2 days, and I think as you experienced, you saw them realizing that their life is growing. They realized that they are spending their time in a very bad way. Many of them are wasting. Like the men discovered that they use only 4 hours of their day to do productive work. Unless we have this kind of engagement, then parish model will remain a dream.
A parish chief for Kanyum, Isoto Oliver, said there is a challenge related to popularizing the parish development model program to the locals.
The challenges that the communities had was in getting information and education as per development. But right now, I think they are going to be uplifted and they are going to produce more outputs.
However, some locals are eagerly waiting for the parish development model funds.
People are ready at the parish. They are now the signatories for their own monies. They are only waiting for the district to go and advise them where to change, and I'm sure our people are going to be changed.
Yiga Muhammad, Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
World Food Programme and UNICEF have joined Office of the Prime Minister to fight malnutrition in 8 refugee hosting districts of West Nile through livelihood programs. This is aimed at improving sustainable good feeding among families in refugee hosting areas of West Nile.
The Office of the Prime Minister, through Development Response to Displacement Impact and World Food Programme, recently implemented emergency cash transfer program funded by Swedish government before transitioning into the current 5-year NUTRICASH program. During lockdown, 2 rounds of the cash transfer was made to 124,140 vulnerable households in 8 districts of West Nile to cope up with the negative impact of COVID-19 that had adverse nutritional challenges. In disbursement of the 96,000 shillings per pregnant, lactating, and children below 2 years, many mothers decided to invest part of the money into livelihood projects. A South Sudan refugee at Ochia village in Rhino Camp settlement, Joy Ayozu, is one of the mothers who bought a goat and local chicken to rear, which have now multiplied.
So out of this 96,000, I've said no, since they have given for us at least to balance diet at home for children. So I pick some of the money, I buy with a goat. That goat has produced, I have also another young one. I bought a chicken, so I have now chickens at home, and which really helped me.
A member of the host community in Paor sub-county, Agnes Nyadoy, used the money as capital to start fishmongering and now uses proceeds from her business to improve nutrition in her extended family.
That time, the life was difficult. Right now, that money, if I go and sell fish, I can buy food for my children
In December 2021, OPM, WFP and UNICEF launched a 5-year NutriCash program meant to benefit pregnant, lactating and children under 2 years with 48,000 shillings per month for a period of 2 years. Robert Asiko, the Dr. Deep Desk Officer in Terrago District, challenged the beneficiaries of NutriCash program to emulate what beneficiaries of the emergency cash transfer have done in a bid to reduce malnutrition in Western Nile.
From what the households are doing, other households who are not necessarily members of Dr. Deep or beneficiaries of Dr. Deep can be able to see what actually these groups are doing and be able to emulate so that it has a multiplier effect. And at the end of the day, we'll find, I think in the next 2 or 3 years, the whole of West Nile, our nutritional challenges will be so low.
The country director of WFP, El Kadir Dalum, said this program is a joint effort in line with Uganda's National Development Plan and the Parish Development Model.
The idea is that we need to have a dignified livelihood program in the region where the people eventually stand on their own feet and feed by themselves. This is also being coordinated well with the government through Dr. Deep programs, and we are also closely working with the authorities on the ground on the issue of parish development model, because we see that is the way forward, and the resources has to trickle down to the parish development model. The community at the parish level have to define their priority, and WFP and others will then put their resources at the parish development. So it is a coordination with the authorities, funding from the donors. That is the strategy we need to be looking forward in the coming years.
Joseph Odama, UBC News.
Enjoy convenience today with Airtel Money School Pay. Dial *185#. Select option 6, School Fees. Select option 2, School Pay. Select option 1, Pay Fees. Enter student number. Enter the amount. Enter the PIN number to complete payment. Beat the back-to-school hustle today. Pay school fees conveniently